Okay, awesome. So, hello everyone. Welcome to our Horizen Weekly Insider number 53. Today is August the 13th, and happy Thursday to you all. Please remember that this call is being recorded and it's going to be available in our Horizen podcast, and we are, of course, live now on YouTube. Also, please remember to be asking your questions so we can have our good Q&A session at the end with the whole team. I'll pass the word now to Rosario for her to give us the engineering updates.
Well, who knew that Mr. Bean's name was Rowan? That's something that is displayed on Discord for those that are just listening to us. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Just some tidbits and general updates. So we had our 51% attack mitigation reviewed by MIT Research and Weon, and I may not be pronouncing that, but it was really cool to see that our solution was evaluated by a third party. And just a general reminder for us to continuously look at attack vectors and ways to improve. So thanks to P2 for highlighting this research, and it was great to see. Moving on to some SDK updates and just some general impressive stats. So we have an 80% increase in follows in the SDK repository since we've launched Zendoo, our sidechain SDK, and we are averaging about 100 downloads per week. So it's great to see that we have interest for our sidechain solution. And now that we've released our first draft of the SDK documentation and the sample Lambo registry, it will help our developers continue testing and also eventually start building. So this Lambo registry takes the simple app and extends it, shows developers how to customize the application. So really this was the first step to start to this next phase, which is going to be app development on our sidechain platform. So I will post a link here later on Discord, and we welcome feedback. It may not be perfect, but it's at least a draft for you to review and provide feedback. Feedback can be provided directly on GitHub. So if you're familiar with GitHub, you can open an issue on the repository, and we will improve jointly as a team and community. Just some updates on the SDK memory leak investigation. So we involved our new team member, Vladimir, who has background on both C++ and Java. So it's just very key background to have. And the issue appears not to be in the memory leak. And they've honed in on the Rust part of the JNI code. So investigation continues, and right now no major updates, but we will continue providing updates in the sidechain channel if we have any major breakthroughs. Oleg and Alexander have moved to adding, now that we have the documentation, SDK documentation complete from the first iteration, they moved on to adding new functionality to the SDK, and that's going to be implementing the Merkle tree using Poseidon hash into the sidechain. And that's in preparation to the final proving system of our SDK. Luigi set up two nodes, one for the simple app and the other for the Lambo registry. And previous sidechains were going into the C state. So these two nodes will remain open and also help us gain more data for the SDK issue that we are working on actively. Moving on to HDE, we have 8 active tasks and 3 bounties claimed so far. So great to see this level of participation. I'm going to be adding a new task today related to a bounty for launching a Lambo registry and finding issues on documentation. And as I mentioned earlier, we're still early in this phase, and our heap members or any early adopter is welcome to provide feedback. Moving from the product to the product side, I want to highlight that the work that we're looking to do with Sphere. As you may recall, Sphere was intended to be our launching point for user-facing products. And Paolo completed the analysis of Sphere and determined that Sphere can be extended to add modules and even dynamic modules. So we are evaluating paths for security. So just as a heads up for you and the general community, there's two major functionalities that we're looking from the product side to support our sidechain solution. The first one is for Sphere, and it's the ability for developers to customize and run wallets on sidechains. And this is going to be really important. And that way, developers don't have to build their own wallet or do anything. They could just use and customize that on Sphere. The second item is on the Explorer side. So it's going to be the ability for developers to display customized transactions on our Explorer. And that's an active project that we are currently working on. Moving on to developer outreach. So we have Major League Hacking is a vendor that partnership that we've started some time ago. And Major League Hacking is a global hackathon community for computer science students around the world. And we created a course that shows students how to use blockchain UTXO model and how to customize an application. So in our case, we've added a ping pong game as a sample, and shout out to Jonas, Chronic, and Gustavo for helping tailor the content for MLH. And this was a multi-month effort. And yesterday we had our first course, so first of 33 workshops conducted. We had about 14 participants, and we have two general goals with MLH. One is introduce new developers to Horizen. So when we have new developers, students thinking about blockchain, we want them to think about Horizen. And the second goal is to, of course, gain users into the Horizen ecosystem. So this effort is great collaboration with the marketing team. So I'm sure Lucy will have more information about this. As I mentioned, there's 33 workshops total that will be conducted. First one was yesterday. We had some very great feedback already from our user Siggy on Discord, and we'll pass on the feedback to adjust the workshops for the other 32 workshops that are remaining. So the feedback was specifically on when we have wallets at the Sphere available for the students before the workshop, and also compressing. So the course has two parts. One's a general blockchain, and then the other one is specific to building the app on the Horizen network. So thank you for that feedback, Siggy and others, and welcome anything more. That's it for now, guys. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rosario. Let's continue now with Alan to give us some updates on the node side.
Hello, everybody. Just a quick update on the exchange staking project. That is the project that allows significant changes on the stake side, where you can put multiple stakes in one Zen address, and also allows alternate payouts. In order to do this, we had to have a way to authenticate those stake addresses. So we've built what we call a stake tool, and that allows you to create a verification request, create a transaction, send that transaction from the stake address, and then it gets verified on the tracking servers. So that portion of it is complete, and we're working on the server side, testing on all the code that manages the stake requests, the feedback on those changes, exceptions, and the actual payout process itself. So we still got a little bit of work and testing to do on the server side, and we'll just have to look for some announcements in the near future. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Alan. Next, we have Spencer with the Helpdesk report.
Happy Thursday, fellow teammates and Horizen enthusiasts. Today's Helpdesk status is for the 13th of August, 2020. Our customer satisfaction score over the last 7 days was a 4.7 average out on the scale of 5.0 based upon 17 user reviews. There were 85 tickets submitted to the service desk over the trailing 7 days, 53 in support of the faucet, 32 on all other issues, primarily wallet support. Common faucet issues were whitelisting of accounts where appropriate. This is relative to VPN usage by faucet users. There were payment issues that were resolved and questions about the referral system. The most common Sphere by Horizen issue was the assistance of users with recovering wallets using the seed phrase. Next was account or wallet corruption and recovery from that condition. And that completes the report from the help desk. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Spencer. Now let's welcome Jonathan to give us the growth updates.
Hey everybody, happy Thursday. So some good news today to share. First of all, Blocks Jump is now available on iOS. So all of us Apple users, Mac users can download the game and start to earn some Zen. I've been waiting for that myself since I have an iPhone, and I downloaded the update yesterday and it works pretty good. So in addition to that, we also have the game up and live on the faucet starting about 15 minutes ago. So that's really exciting. We've been talking about it for a while. So if you head over to getzen.cash, you're going to see a tab. The tab is called Games. And so far, we only have one game. Keep in mind that this is a beta of the game. It's a simple web page that we have for now. It's not perfect by any means, but the mechanism for earning Zen does work, and you should have no issues with that. This is a test for us. It's one of hopefully many, many games, but we need to start small, test it, get feedback from the community. So if you have any feedback, please leave it on Discord. But this is a big step forward for us. There was a lot of work that was put into integrating Zen into this game, and then taking a mobile game and transforming it into a web game that our community can use. And again, hopefully it's just a start. You'll see that the web page is pretty simple because the design of the faucet hasn't caught up yet, because we are moving to a new look and feel, completely new look, completely new feel for something that we call the Zen Hub. So the Zen Hub is going to have a lot more than just a faucet. The hub is going to be where you have things like games and other things which we haven't announced yet. And that new design, that new look, that new feel will be going live next week. And that's it for me. Gustavo, anything from you?
Hi everyone, happy Thursday. Maybe just other quick things. So we also been working on a Chinese specific faucet. We've been making some progress. So if you're one of our Chinese community members, keep tuned to that. And we are also working on the HC referral system. And I'll reiterate what Rosario said regarding the Lambo registry. And I invite everyone to test it and also help with the documentation, or even on the code side, providing any kind of feedback, it will be useful. And that's all.
Thank you, guys. Let's continue with Rowan for some BD and operations updates.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Just a brief update from me today. Start with a little bit of a teaser. Alan mentioned in the node update that they have kind of completed the first step of the exchange staking modifications to the node tracking system. And we've now delivered, in inverted commas, the stake tool to one of our exchange partners. So I'm not going to say anything further than that, but we are making good progress on the exchange staking outreach front, and we will have some pretty cool news to share with the community in the coming weeks. Clearly, there's going to be a chunk of testing still to be done, and there's still the find fix cycle to complete on the server side from engineering in Horizen. But we're making great progress there, and I will have news to share reasonably soon. I don't want to commit to next week because I don't know exactly how long testing is going to take, but it will be weeks, not months. I can say that much. Beyond that, primary task for us at the moment is to continue the dev shop outreach. worth just kind of being a bit more specific here for a second. Clearly, there is a large amount of different potential developer houses and kind of customers, if you like, for the tech stack that we're building. What we're trying to do is start with the companies that are most capable and most likely to be early adopters, and the companies that are going to understand, and not just companies, also just individual developers as well. Quite important to make that point. But we want to really reach the organizations that understand the technology already to start with. We want to kind of be talking to people that at least speak our language in the early days, gather feedback, and kind of bring them into the fold and really use their feedback to help hone that offering and make it as kind of applicable for as many different use cases as possible. So when I talk about DevShop outreach, I'm talking specifically about blockchain dev house outreach. And we started, if you remember from one of my last updates, targeting kind of the top 25, according to Hackin and a few of the other different kind of publications around that. And through this process, we've managed to gather a really pretty decent amount of information around what these types of companies look for in a kind of blockchain deployment kit, and also what we need to do differently, or how we need to structure our communication and how we need to structure our product to make it more applicable. So we're making good progress. These things do take a lot of time. We're kind of starting from scratch here in that we need to bring them up to speed with Horizen as an ecosystem, and then start honing down into how the technology could be useful for them and their customers. We've had a pretty good round of questions from a couple of them, and this next week is going to be kicking off kind of more detailed conversations around specific use cases with some of their teams. So looking forward to that, but very much still in kind of intro and fact-finding mode. So I just wanted to make that clear. We also do have a really good conversation ongoing with a gaming company that I think I've mentioned before. That's regarding a use case that has me pretty excited. So I'll provide a bit of a further update on that front in due course. Beyond that, not a huge amount to provide updates on. Basically just churning away on DevShop outreach. Vano, if you want to jump in with anything from your side, please feel free to do so.
Thanks, Rowan. Hello, everyone. Not much public updates from me, but there is some interesting things going on with analytics and like blockchain analytics and data organizations, and hopefully we will have some new partnerships there. And other public update I have is that we have some requests from our Eastern European community for some Horizen stickers for our store. That's all from me.
Great. Thank you, guys. Let's continue with Lucy for the marketing updates.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So, this has been an exciting week, especially for our developer community. So this week, we released the official announcement for our first demo application created using Zendu Lembo registry. Rosario also mentioned. So this app shows developer how they can use the Zendu SDK to create a customized app. This app is open sourced and comes with the documentation. But in order to help a developer get started more easily so they can start building on Horizen right away, our engineering team is going to provide more support. So and now with the Lembo registry, it's easier for us to do that. So we are producing a technical tutorial series containing 5 videos to walk through the process of building AD app with the Zendu SDK using that Lembo registry as an example. So we'll be releasing the first episode very soon. So on top of that, we are hosting a live webinar. The topic is how to build a customized D app on Horizen. Our engineering director, Alberto, and senior software engineer, Alexander, are the presenters. So the webinar is scheduled for September the 10th. So you can already register now through our early adopt program, HEAP. So if you go to heap.horizen.global, you can register for the webinar on the homepage. And this week, we also announced an exciting partnership. Rosario mentioned already and gave a great overview of this partnership. It's with the Major League Hacking. So Major League Hacking is the official student hackathon. They organize over 200 weekend-long hackathons for more than 65,000 students worldwide. So our mission is very much aligned. Like Horizen, Major League Hacking is also a community-first and mission-driven nonprofit organization. So we share a common goal to empower our communities through technology and education. So as mentioned before, we will host 33 workshops and hackathons in the next 12 months. So that's 4 workshops every month. And each workshop is different topic and it teaches the participants a different set of application skills. So to accompany the workshops, we will also offer incentives for participants who complete the workshop and more rewards for those who complete certain tasks. So not only will you learn a lot of skills, much of them are hands-on, very much hands-on. We will also do it in a very, very engaged way and fun way. So MOH focus on student community, but their workshops and hackathons are open to all developers who are interested in learning the skills. So we strongly encourage you to participate. The first one was yesterday. If you missed that one, there are 32 more. Okay, so no worries. But make sure that you sign up on our early adopter program so you don't miss events, fun events like that, because we send out developer only notifications to those who sign up through our early adopter program. And lastly, just a reminder, our $300 giveaway is ending soon. So it's ending this Friday. So if you haven't participated yet, you need to head to our faucet right now and enter there. And by the way, you can play game there as well now. So have fun. That's it from me. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Lucy. Rolf, is there anything you would like to add?
Not today. Thank you, though.
Thank you, Rolf. And now let's welcome Rob for the final part and Q&A session.
Thank you, Angie. Part of this is going to be recapping, but recapping with hopefully a flavor for where we're going and how it all fits into our strategy. First thing is thank you to P-Stu for pointing out that MIT analysis on our 51% prevention protocol adjustments that Rosario mentioned. This was done by Anne Ouyang from MIT. Really cool analysis. Highly recommend everyone who's interested in this part of our technology to check it out. It's just nice to see that people are actually reviewing the work that we've done. Also, a big shout out to Alan and Chronic for just pushing through an insane amount of work on the exchange staking project. This was a huge surge of effort, and I'm really excited to see how it rolls out. And Ron mentioned a little teaser that already one exchange has, the code has already been delivered to one exchange, and we're ready to hopefully get cranking soon on it. So we'll see how that goes. Their Major League Hacking series of hackathons that kicked off this week that you've heard both Rosario and Lucy talk about is really fun. So it's a nice, we've had nice preliminary feedback from the community, from a couple of community members who participated in the hackathon. We call it a hackathon, but really what this is meant to do, it's not the traditional hackathon that you think of where, at the end you have an output of a whole bunch of different POCs, you're using the technology and then judge them and so forth. This is more of an educational experience for young computer scientists and developers, just to expose them to blockchain technology, to expose them to Horizen itself, and then ultimately to get them into our ecosystem. The curriculum itself was designed by Jonas and the MLH team at a time that was pre sidechain, pre Zendu, pre SDK. So it does focus on the Horizen core main chain, the UTXO model there, and the end product is building a simple game. And the curriculum walks you through that process and just really walks you through the process from a very introductory perspective of what this tech is all about and how you can start doing something with it. Our goal is to go beyond just that, obviously, right? We're introducing Horizen to a community of 65,000 plus junior developers and computer scientists. So the goal here is to have a warm intro, dip their toes in the water, and then ultimately get them into our ecosystem, and then to do useful things once they're in. So we would really like, if we think about calls to action here, we're thinking about incentivizing people to then participate in HDE, to join HEAP, and then ultimately to build on the tech. But this is more of a process over time, and again, we're thinking longer term on it. The product and engineering team, you heard the details here about how we're working to continuously make the SDK more useful, or usable, I should say. We did release it, the beta version, when we did, because it was designed specifically for early adopters, not for having a published product. And anyone who's touched it so far knows that quite clearly. But the point of it, though, is to get community developers to actually start using it and work with us to improve it. That was the whole point. So we got a clunky, we'll call it clunky because it was early stage product out there, and we've had some very useful, substantive feedback so far. Now, what we're doing is, Lucy mentioned this whole video tutorial series that's forthcoming, and we just had documentation released. Well, even the documentation was informed by the early developers in the community who have been getting feedback to us. So that feedback is critical, and that was the whole point of releasing it when we did. Now it's going to start getting fun, especially with the video tutorial series, with a Lambo registry that was released as well. It's on our GitHub. So if you're a developer and you're interested in extending the SDK for some application, that's your starting point. And Gustavo's already taken a stab at extending the SDK into a different direction. And we realized pretty quickly that the video tutorial with the Lambo registry isn't sufficient for all application extensions, but it is a really nice start, though. And the goal is to have many different application examples, and then many different tutorials and documentation to support extending the SDK into a whole bunch of different areas. So more forthcoming. Rome wasn't built in a day, and at the same time, don't expect miracles, but we are working our butts off to get useful stuff out there for you. On the partnership BD front, you heard from Rowan on some very important substantive things, but what I can throw a little bit of a teaser out there. I say this sort of jokingly, but I dare mention the word DeFi. We have a really interesting partnership that we've just signed, and we'll be crafting some PR around in the coming 1 to 2 weeks. It's very interesting on a very notable, well-established DeFi project that is going to be working with us and building something fun on Zendu. So that's just a little teaser. And I say it sort of jokingly, guys. I don't expect our market cap to double or triple or 10x because I said the word DeFi, or the acronym DeFi. On the marketing side, we are preparing to get loud. This is, I mentioned last week that we officially started working with Waxman PR again. Really excited for that. We have an awesome team assigned to the project, and we have a really nice preliminary pipeline of announcements and things that we're going to be doing in the PR domain over the coming weeks and then months. So really excited for that. We're structuring a whole bunch of quick wins on the PR front, so more forthcoming. But this again goes to our Operation FOMO, as we jokingly call it, which is basically starting to actually get loud about what we're doing, because we've been in this sort of de facto stealth mode for too long, where we've been heads down building. Now with Zendu, we need to start getting the word out there and actually start producing, not just get the word out. We need to actually start getting some tangible results, and then make sure that we have the mechanisms in place to broadcast those tangible results to try to cut through a lot of the noise that's in this industry. I'm super excited for games on the faucet. So I personally just downloaded Blocks Jump on my iPhone, and I'm super pumped to actually play it on the faucet as well. Highly encourage everyone to check it out. It's just really cool. It's just the first example of seeing where we're going with Zen Hub. And guys, I was personally blown away with how quickly Zen Hub is coming up. Next week is the target that Jonathan just mentioned. So that's really cool. At least starting to kick off the Zen Hub. And what else do I have to say here? So the last bit that I want to say, and that was just a recap of the updates, and you see how they're coherently marching towards a strategy here of post Zendu. We need to start doing things, useful things, and cultivating the developer community, then just really getting the word out there and amplifying the messaging around what we're doing to cut through a lot of the noise. And where's the noise coming from? Well, right now we're experiencing what looks like the start of a bull market in this DeFi area. Don't exactly know what to make of it, but Zen has been doing reasonably well. We've at least from a market valuation and pricing perspective, we've clawed our way out of the bear market that we were in, and that's always nice. But we're just one project amidst this boom that's taking place in a different sector of the industry. Anything that mentions DeFi right now, it feels like 2017, but I don't want to discount it. I think the ignorant approach would be to just point our fingers at this DeFi bull run and say that this is a joke. I think we all have that inclination because we've been around for years and working our butts off and we're building this really solid protocol an ecosystem, and then some project comes along, mentions DeFi, and all of a sudden they're worth more than us overnight. It seems wrong, it feels crazy, but let's not discount it. So markets tend to actually be right more often than the contrarian commentators. It's really easy to be contrarian on things. It's fun, it's rewarding, and at some point, if you do a rain dance long enough, it eventually rains. But that's not the approach we should take. We shouldn't discount it entirely. We should try to learn. There's probably some rational signal amidst all of this noise that's coming out there of, what is this DeFi thing? Why is it becoming so valuable? Well, I can tell you, I got into Bitcoin because of DeFi before DeFi was a word or a thing. That's really what Bitcoin is, and that's ultimately what Zen is right now. It is DeFi. It's decentralized something. Okay, finance is the obvious application here because Bitcoin was decentralized money. So that's really the OG in the DeFi world. Well, that's why probably many of us got into this industry to begin with. But now you're seeing a new crop of next generation projects that are jumping out there and leveraging this word. Well, what does it mean for us, and what are we doing about it? Well, I could say we are continuing to focus on protocol stability, governance, tools, and so forth, as we've been mentioning in this call. Zen still needs to mature and hit mainnet. We know we have a bunch of work still going on there. We have partners like Horizen Labs that are building, snark circuits that are going to be pretty interesting and fit into the Zen SDK for added security. But what I can say, the signal that I'm taking from this is that competition in this industry is becoming increasingly fierce, and more capital, more money does bring in more competition, and we can't ignore that, and we can't just smugly sit back and say, "Hey, we've been around longer. Look at all the cool stuff we're doing." What I take from it is we're not going fast enough. So what I want to do over the coming year is 10x our output. And that's easy to say, but we actually have to have a plan for how to do that. And we need more capital to get that done. So we are going to be doing, in various components of the ecosystem, we have been fundraising, we have been raising capital, and with Zen increasing, we are getting more capital to do different things. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on a very aggressive 2021 roadmap, and we're going to resource it. So, a roadmap without the resources to accomplish it is meaningless. So I'm not going to spill any beans on some preliminary ideas for this roadmap. We've been talking about it for a while. There are some things that are going to be in there that should be no surprise to anyone, and I'm really excited about. Things like the Treasury DAO is something that I want to get serious about. We've been talking about it for years, and we're still not decentralized on the Treasury. And to me, that's, I don't want to beat us up about it because we had some serious resource constraints through, I don't know, from when we originally prototyped a Treasury DAO back in 2018 to today. We've gone through like 3 to 4 really existential crises for the project. So really, let's not beat ourselves up, but at the same time, let's get serious about it. The goal was to release Zendu and to actually have the sidechain technology, because our idea for architecture and security was to do this Treasury DAO on a sidechain. Well, now we have the tech, sort of, right? We're still maturing it, and we still have a roadmap to get that to mainnet, but we're on that roadmap. We're on that path, and we're going to do it. So the 2021 roadmap has to include these big ticket, ambitious items that actually decentralize our ecosystem, and I'm pumped for that because it's about time. There will be a bunch of others out there. So let's circle back to this DeFi thing. Well, DeFi to me isn't something that we chase because it's a hot buzzword right now. DeFi is a concept that I think underlies the entire reason to exist. And stemming back to Bitcoin, what we're trying to do, we're trying to actually create useful protocols and useful technologies and products that get tools, in particular financial and economic access tools out there to people in the world that don't have access to these things. So to me, that's what DeFi is. It's not a buzzword that triples your market cap overnight. It's about continuing to push the technology that it was the reason why we all got here. Well, that has to be heavy in our 2021 roadmap. We have to have tools, and we realistically, I'll just say this frankly, we have to catch up to other projects that have been better capitalized from us. There are competitors out there that I won't name that have hundreds of millions of dollars in their treasury, and we're competing against them. And if you look at their GitHub, and if you look at their websites, and if you look at the tools that they've brought out there, they're fantastic, right? So we have to catch up. We do have this phase. We've been working under adversity for years, and now I think we have sufficient capital, and we've sufficiently proven ourselves to the point where we need a step function jump up in capital. And what capital means is actually development teams to start building things. So the approach that we're going to take in 2021, and we're going to push hard on additional fundraising to make it a reality, is I want an extra 2 to 3 development teams, complete independent dev teams, and I want to beef up our Milan operations. So what this means functionally is the teams that we have in place have to grow, and we have to build new ones. And we also have to meaningfully engage this developer community that we're building. We just started really engaging with in a meaningful way, with Zendu and then HDE. So far, we're approaching something like 1,000 individual developers who have joined Heap, Heap and or HDE, and not counting overlap. So almost 1,000 new developers in something like a month. That's fantastic, but it's a starting point. Now, we can't claim victory because just having 1,000 emails is nothing. What you have to do is translate those 1,000 emails or convert them into doing meaningful things. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be adding more tasks, bounties. We're going to be layering in different incentives for people to actually work together in teams and to bring in other developers. And we want to make this meaningful. We want to bring in other software companies, like Rowan mentioned, to actually start building with our technology. And we know we have a long road ahead of us, but what I'm arguing for here is we're taking the signal from this DeFi boom right now, and we're using this to say we've done really good things for validating our existence and validating that we can actually perform well. And we've done this under adversity for a while now. But if we're going to continue to be relevant, we have a lot of catch up to do. So we have to be honest with ourselves here as a team, as a community, that our competitors have tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in resources. And it's not just about money. It's the ability to actually execute on those resources. And some of our competitors are absolutely fantastic. I really do look up to them, but it's not looking up to them at all and saying we'll never get there. It's okay, here, let's point to them and say, here's our goal. Here's here's where we're going to be, and we're going to be there in a year. So I'm really excited to piece together this 2021 roadmap, and I want to do it with the community. I don't want this to be done in a vacuum. This has to be a great example of how we're opening up and decentralizing and working together. So that's all I've got today, guys, and we'll open it up here to any questions.
Great. Thank you, Rob. Okay, so thank you everyone for putting in your questions. The first one is, when Celsius? Is it listed as upcoming?
Yes, so Celsius already came out and spilled the beans in one way by adding Zen in their app as an upcoming coin that they're adding. As far as a date, I don't have a date yet because it's really on them and on the back end for supporting Zen. But they are actively working on it, and we do have some other announcements we're going to be jointly crafting with their PR team. So forthcoming on that. Sorry, I wish I could announce a specific date, but it will be within a week or two. We'll have more details out to you guys.
Thank you, Rob. The next question is, human readable wallet addresses. Are we planning on introducing them?
I think it's a fantastic idea, but we actually don't have a project lined up yet. So I can't say definitively. This would be one of those cool things to add to the 2021 roadmap, actually, and to figure out which of the multiple teams that we have working here would work on it, or maybe we actually put this out there as a more substantive HDE project. Because right now we have a bunch of really low complexity or short-term projects under HDE, but we fully intend to expand this as we're getting our feet wet with HDE into more substantive projects like this. And I think this might be a really good one.
Great. And the last question is it still the plan to move private transactions to their own sidechain in order to comply with some of the anti-privacy regulations in certain jurisdictions?
So I will say I'm a big fan of this, but this is one of these large governance topics that I don't think we can just do in a vacuum. I think we actually have to draft a proper ZenIP for it and actually socialize it with the community. But what I would say is the reason for doing it wouldn't be jurisdictional compliance. Not that that's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing, especially because this foundation, as one entity within the decentralized ecosystem, is a U.S. nonprofit, right? So as far as we're concerned as the foundation, we for sure want to comply with every single U.S. Regulation that's out there. Now, the real reason, as I see it, though, for the ecosystem to want to do something like that, at least to take it very seriously and let's open it up to community discussion, it is more for architectural reasons and for the tech reasons. So number one, we don't want main chain bloat, and snarks are actually very, very heavy. On the database for the main chain is exploding, and if we're serious about decentralization, we don't want to have a super heavy, blockchain. So there are good reasons from a scalability perspective to bump the shielded pool to its own sidechain. And the other that I think is a very, very strong argument is on the security side. So if we ever have a bug in this very complex zero knowledge stuff in the shielded pool, we don't want an inflation bug to destroy the entire ecosystem. That's a risk that all of these Zcash based protocols have right now. Is if there's a bug in the shielded pool, it could cause a critical inflation disaster. And that's not something that as we grow as a platform and more of this blockchain and blockchain's ecosystem with a whole bunch of different use cases, we don't want one use case and one feature to destroy the entire system. I mean, that's a hard sell. So imagine going to some really strong use case that has a great reason. Say that there's a business that has a great reason to build a sidechain with us, and then all of a sudden they build out this great business as a sidechain, and then there's an inflation bug on a feature on the main chain that destroys the entire ecosystem and makes Zen worthless. Well, then every single business, every single sidechain, everything that has ever been built with our technology becomes worthless. That's a disaster that to me is unacceptable. And one solution to it is actually to bump the shielded pool to its own sidechain. So you have a natural firewall with the cross-chain transfer protocol that makes it impossible for more Zen that's been committed to that sidechain or to that shielded pool to actually be withdrawn from it. And we could do this. There are multiple ways to skin a cat, right? So we could put this firewall that we've talked about into the shielded pool already, and we could do this and keep it in the main chain. But I think in combination with the idea of real scalability and having as low of a footprint as possible on the main chain so it can actually scale around the world, I think that in combination with security makes a lot more sense to have it as its own dedicated sidechain. That's my argument. And what I intend to do is package this into a ZenIP and open it up to the community to discuss. And this is the way we should be making big decisions going forward.
Great. So there was a very last voted question, and it's short and sweet. Where should I park my Lambo?
On the moon, obviously. Everyone knows that.
Of course. Awesome. So I guess this is the wrap up. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Remember, we do this every Thursday with our weekly insiders for you to check out the latest updates. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I hope to see you all on our next weekly insider. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Make sure to check the game out. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Later, taters.